recording has started. We're good to begin. So, last time, we left off with you guys joined up on the hunt for the mysterious great stag. You were able to locate it, the strange albino beast, and you even pursued it through the Reichwald. But unfortunately, you lost the creature at the foot of a strange mountain that gave those of you who are wizards a pretty negative vibe. But when you went in, a large storm approached and seemed to be heralding the arrival of some legion of creatures that were headed up by some chaos warhounds. So you decided to stay in the cave, where you got to go deeper in, ran into some goblins, shenanigans happened, halfling nearly died, but you managed to make it out relatively intact. And as we start this session, y'all stayed through the night, so everyone who rested needs to roll me a endurance check plus 20 to get some natural healing in. If you decided to pull an all-nighter because you were like, nah, screw that, don't want to get ambushed, then don't roll. But everybody else roll. And if anybody needs a reminder of how to apply this, then just let me know.
It's toughness bonus plus success level. Wounds back, right?
Uh-huh. And there's no penalty for being at severely wounded, so. Alright. So, morning has arrived. The sun is out. There are birds chirping in the wilderness. Most of y'all probably feel kind of bad, but for the most part, you've survived. That's the important thing. And a quick note that we'll make is that wrist, as you awaken, the last thing you remember being a rather large goblin bringing its blade down upon you. You, remember well, I should say, because you didn't go unconscious. You just got slapped pretty hard. You look at your chest because it hurts a lot. And you realize, kind of feeling around, that although the muscle is very tender and you have a pretty nasty bruise starting to very much show up, contrary to what you thought earlier, your ribs did not, in fact, break, but you see that the armor covering your chest has been completely shredded from the impact of the blade the day before, because we may or may not have forgotten that armor deflection is a thing. So your armor is ruined, or it's at least down one armor piercing point, or armor point. So I don't know if that destroys it or not.
It would destroy it if it wasn't attached with arms that have their own armor value.
Okay, great. So the chest piece is ruined, but the overall armor is still... It's cheaper to repair. That's the important part.
Oh, Shalia's mercy. Ah, that stings.
Alright, it's morning. What would y'all like to do?
I get up, look in my bag, and begin to wail and cry. There's no food!
Verstadt will get up groggily and say, why are you worrying about food right now?
What's more important than food? I skipped dinner last night.
I thought your ribs were broken last night.
So did I. It hurt a lot. Look at this. It tore the leather apart.
Oh, wow,
Leather's
look
not
at that.
supposed to... He will flap the strips. Not supposed to end up like this.
Okay, I agree.
But more importantly, there's no food.
None at all? Do you mean
Well,
you didn't pack any, or...?
I ate it all. I was wailing in case, you had food.
Oh, okay.
But that was very brave of you, Vertstadt, the way you stood in front of that big, hulking, scary spider.
It was,
Thank you very much.
It was nothing, Master Wrist.
If I had food, I would share it with you. And that's a lot coming from a halfling.
It is most appreciated. Should we wake up Verve and Roland?
Verve's been awake all night.
I
Hello,
think
Verve.
I'm the reason no one's been poked in the night. Basically, I will look at each and every one of you. I'm guessing Roland is still sleeping.
Correct.
But I will look at you, Verstat, and Wrist and say we should probably be getting going, unless we want to be trapped up here another day.
And
Oh,
by,
gods, no.
and by getting going, do we mean back to Hagerdorf, or do we mean continuing the chase for the stag?
Just a reminder, you're staying in Jettenburg right now, not Hagendorf.
Jettenburg?
Well, I mean, if you want to chase down the demon stag, I may not be able to charm it with my tongue a second time. You saw what it did to that gun.
I did.
I may be a good tracker, but it has a huge lead on us, and it took us the better part of a day to get here. I think it is time we go back.
Plus, weren't we supposed to meet Hugo today? Or was that tomorrow? I lost track.
I admit I'm not the best with dates either, Wrist.
Tomorrow.
Okay, well, I think there's a whole lot of things we could do in town, like sleep in a bed. Don't you agree, Roland? And I will shake Roland's shoulder.
Yeah.
Would you like to go back and sleep in a nice bed?
Whatever I can get. I'm sick of this place.
I agree, though that was very brave of you the way you ran up and beat up that goblin. And I'm going to hand you another one of Jetten's marvelous healing draughts.
I'll sort of swish it around and pocket it because at the moment I'm basically alright.
It's not much, but saving a life is worth a little repayment, isn't it?
I like the way you think.
Well, right now I'm thinking about food, and I like that very much. Verve, do you think there's, food on the way back in the forest? I hear there's nuts and berries and things.
You remember we went through the Hager Crypt forest. Do you want to eat something from there?
Give me 10 minutes and I'll probably say yes, but let's get out of here before that.
Alright, y'all just want to shoot back to Jettenburg?
Yes.
Believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, Sotek, we are in the Hager Cribs, right?
You are at the very base of them, yeah. You're like barely in the Hager Cribs.
Alright, as we leave, could I do an outdoor survival check at, I assume, a very hard penalty to notice any of those herbs I had the apothecary describe to me?
Yeah,
Edible
sure.
stuff?
Uh-huh.
Alright, thank you.
You do not see anything that looks like what he described. Everything looks particularly thorny or hostile to you. It almost looks like the forest is actively either predatory or just angrily dead in this part of the forest.
This place must be what the Chaos Wastes look like. I haven't seen a berry all day.
Thinking of the woods. Something's been getting to me about the stag we saw.
What about it?
So everyone's been saying it's so bloodthirsty and all, but that thing just seemed to run away like any normal deer.
Well, I mean, I did charm it a bit. Maybe it just didn't want to hurt me.
Alright, it is daytime, so Wrist, with your navigation. Orientation. You will not need to check about what direction to go. If y'all want to try and navigate without running into any serious concerns or troublesome terrain. For Wrist, it'll be a very easy navigation check. For the rest of you, it would just be easy.
What modifier is easy?
Easy is plus 40. Also, is someone, like, slamming a Joy-Con in your background?
Yes, less than 2 feet away from me.
Ah, sounds like it. Just making sure. Alright. So, who wants to roll it?
That makes it an 89 for me. Anyone else get better with plus 40?
It's outdoor survival or something else?
No, it's navigation.
Navigation.
If I get a plus 40, that makes it a 92.
Then roll the waiver.
Yeah, roll it.
All right. Oh my gosh, Roland. Okay. So, Roland, being a native of the area, knows exactly how to get back. Without any clouds clouding his concerns, and the ability to know exactly which way he needs to go with Risk's advice about which way is north, he is easily able to lead you guys back towards Jettenburg, and actually make such a straight line for it that y'all make surprisingly good time. When you originally chased the stag here, your journey throughout the tracking the beast to finding it to pursuing it took most of a day. You actually make it back to Jettenburg around noon. You cut almost half of your trip down thanks to his amazing navigational skills once he reaches friendly, recognizable territory.
Oh, you know, Roland, you're daft convenient sometimes.
Yeah, it comes with living close.
Speaking of, as we walk, I was just wondering, as a local lad, what is it you think about the Bloody Hounds? What's their reputation to you?
Most people in Jettenburg don't much care for them. I've actually been thinking of joining up, looking at them as an option.
Oh, an interesting career choice, if you're interested in, I will gesture back towards the way we came, this kind of adventure, let's call it.
I mean, I seem to have held my own at it.
You are very brave. I know that some of the locals, from what I understand, aren't so keen on them.
Nah, but I don't hear much from them about them. They come down this way on occasion, but haven't heard too much outside of what they do.
Oh, well, Silverhand's got a hand made of silver with coins dropping out of it. And they tell me it's not banned magic, so it must be good. I will take out a shilling. It seems real enough in the end.
I eye it a little bit. Does it look genuine?
From what you can tell.
Just give a quick nod. Can't complain about an employer that has silver flowing out of them.
Well, if you're thinking of joining up, I guess you got two options. You could join directly under Silverhand, or you could go off to Rolf and see if he will take you in directly, though you'll still be working for Silverhand in the end.
I guess whatever's more direct and quick then.
Probably straight to Silverhand. Though, I'd say, how are you handling the interesting capabilities of our associates? And he will gesture to Verve and Vergstadt.
I mean, I would be dead without them, wouldn't I?
Quite true, but humans can be so funny about a little lightning. And fire is always good for cooking. But just to warn you, before you join up, Silverhand has some little oath thing he does. Well, it's a little more than an oath. It may have some kind of magic-y bindiness stuff to it.
With the way I've heard dwarves talk, can't be too different.
I think you mentioned soul things. And incineration on displeasure. Well, breaking the promise. So my real question is, how are things in Jettenburg that you're thinking of getting out of town? For that is an option.
I just think there's more out there is all. Not much more to it, at least not right now.
Right, well, I'd be happy to have you along.
Do me and Verve hear this conversation?
I mean, you're with us.
All right. So first I would say, I too will be glad to have you along.
You'll see Jettenburg in the distance, kind of coming up over the hills from your, or coming into view from y'all's advantageous upper position.
Oh, isn't that a sight to for sore eyes? I can tell that there's lots of cookery going on in there. But when we get there, I can always give a word of, what's it called, recommendation to Sir Rolf Gorbane to see if it can't smooth your way in.
Sounds good to me. I imagine the stag isn't all they hunted.
Alright, as y'all are approaching the city, do you want to head back to the hunting lodge region, or do you want to just go straight into the city proper?
Do I recall the hunting lodge having food nearby?
That's not really what it does.
I know that's not what it does. I mean, were there vendors trying to sell people's food there?
Vendors, no. Pretty much everyone who seemed to be eating there was self-supplied. There was something that could be construed as an inn, but in the one time you've been there, you didn't see anyone eating. It seemed mostly like a place that focuses on drinking.
I vote for going straight to town.
Sounds good. I'm fairly hungry myself at this point.
I will nod and say I could also use a bit of a rest. I have been up all night, after all.
Yeah, let's head in.
Alright, you make it back to Jettenburg without any major concerns. I'm not going to bother with a fatigue condition for traveling because y'all managed to travel fairly easily and didn't run into any major issues. And once you enter the gates of the city, if you want, you can go wherever. You can split up, stick together, whatever fits your fancy.
One thing, Sotek. Did I wake up with a fatigue condition?
You did not.
Okay.
I give you your medicine.
Well, thank you, Verve. I forgot to take it last night, but I think that's understandable.
I thought it was just once a day.
Yes, once a day.
Oh, there's me getting confused again.
This is why I dole it out, or you'd have it all in one day.
I'm
Sir
not a
Roland.
pharmacist. Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's fine. It's just something very important. Roland, have you heard of that fisherman down at the docks who sells those eels? With the special spices and that.
If you don't need to roll a lore check for this, you vaguely know who he's talking about.
Can't say I've ever sampled him before, but I know where he is.
I'd prefer a reverse stab.
I say, it's a pretty good shop there. I think it'd be good to swing by and I'll buy you all a treat there.
Alright, so you want to head to the docks?
Yep, let me run into the bad people. Go.
Alright. As a group, you make your way down to the docks and forgot to put models on here the other day. That's okay. We can use our imagination. You arrive at the docks, and Roland, you know the docks of Jettenburg are probably one of the more sketchy places, but there doesn't seem activity seems fairly normal today. At least there are people hustling and bustling about, ships coming in, ships going out, a lot of small trade barges, a couple of small ships that have, you know, little groups of the river wardens upon them to make sure there aren't any goblins or river pirates causing concerns. Nothing too interesting seems to be going on, though. After wandering around for a bit, though, you are able to spot, Wrist, the merchant from your prior visit.
Ah, hello there. How was the catch today?
He kind of looks up, looking like he was about to fall asleep on his arm, leaning against his stall, and says, "Oh, it's so good to see you again."
Yes, you're very good with the second noun person thing.
He he kind of gives you a moderately perplexed look, but just kind of nods and says, "What can I do you for?"
Oh, I'll have some of your finest for me and me friends.
He nods and says, "My finest? Alright, see what I can throw together." And he starts looking through basically some food that's been very, very recently prepared, and he kind of hums to himself as he looks around for a moment, while I try and find something real quick. Alright, he brings out a couple of skewers and holds it out towards the lot of you. And he says, "Any drinks to go with that, lad? Something to wet your palate."
I will look to the rest of the group. Does anyone want anything? It's on me today.
What have you been bringing in lately?
He sort of shrugs and says, "Mostly Reichway eels, but we've got a few pikes coming in, a couple of just the local fish. As far as drinks go, I've got some water, clean as I could get it anyway, and a few and I could tap a small keg if you want to buy a pint to take with you on your journey, though you have to pay for the cup, obviously."
Now, Verdstadt, this is a valuable lesson. Ask how much the water is.
How much is the water?
He chuckles and says, "Oh, only a single penny. It's not like I had to break somebody's fingers to get it or nothing."
Of course.
How much for a pint of the keg tap?
He holds, gosh, of course I just turned away from the page that I wanted. He holds up, 3 fingers.
I'll give him 3 brass pennies then.
Alright, and then he turns to you halfway and he says, "It'll be 4 brass apiece for the food."
All right, I will flick him a shilling.
Alright, he lets it hit the table and then quickly slides it safely away to a pouch and nods his thanks. "Anything else, lads?"
Oh, you hear how that hunt has been going?
He he laughs audibly and starts cleaning out one of his ears with a finger. He says, "Oh, the great failure, they're calling it now. Nobody even found the damn thing."
Well, I'll be. That's impressive. Thought there were a bunch of very good hunters running around.
He chuckles and says, "Oh, they're all blaming it on the storm that blew through yesterday. Said it ruined all the tracks and any hope for a good hunt."
Do most hunters give up after a day?
He gives you a mirthful look and he says, I don't think usually, but seeing as the forest was apparently crawling with beastmen yesterday, then, yeah, usually in those circumstances. Number of folks didn't make it back.
Ah, that's rough. Well, thank you kindly again for the great meal.
He nods and says, anytime.
I will turn around into the group. All right, let's get out of here before someone notices me.
What does that mean?
It means we're in the docks, and the shark teeth like to roam the docks.
It's you would
Nobody
know
knows
like
the
this.
shark teeth much better than I do.
Oh, really?
Well, how about we talk and get out of the docks?
Yes, let's go.
I
Actually,
recall a bed being something I possess at a particular establishment.
yes, let's head that way. And while we go, Roland, could I inquire of you, as a local lad, who may know why this place is vacant, what exactly is the deal with the hairy troll?
Is that a check of some kind?
Yeah, you could just roll a local lore check or local history, whatever it is. This one would be plus 40. It's pretty.
Oh, then I get 4 success levels.
Oh yeah, you remember the incident I told you that the Bloody Hounds helped out with?
Yeah.
That inspired a lot of naming conventions. Plus, it's a problem your town has had a lot in the past, so a lot of people have kind of a weird relationship with trolls, and that they're kind of the greatest enemy of your town, but also like a lot of people almost have like a weird like local fondness of them in a really weird way when it comes to like selling stuff or naming things.
Trolls in this town go way back. I've seen no shortage of times river trolls trying to climb up the docks, goblins leading them sometimes.
I'm tired of you guys doubting Heinrich. Roland will introduce you. He's the nicest man in this town.
Doubting Heinrich?
I don't doubt him, I just wonder why there's no one else there.
Speaking of which, are y'all heading back to the Hairy Troll?
I think so, right?
I am.
Alright, sounds like yes. Alright, so you make your way back through town, eating your food, so you are, have nice, full, warm bellies, and, hopefully, nothing bad comes of it, you never know with local food. But you make your way to the Hairy Troll Inn without too much issue, passing by a couple crowds. You do see a lot of the, various camp followers and attendants from the hunt the previous day. It's not difficult to see a couple of them around town, and the town has a good amount of energy. There seems to be a lot of people who are foreign or at least not local, shopping and just kind of exploring the city, checking out different bars and taverns and all sorts of stuff. And as you make your way in to the Hairy Troll Inn, you do find Heinrich hard at work, as there actually are a number of people in the inn now. You see that about 2 of the tables are full. There's so there's about 10 people there. There's a charming little young couple that's over by the fireplace, even though there's no fire in it going right now, and another 3 at the bar. It's actually a little busy.
What time is it?
It's a little bit afternoon, so probably like 2 p.m.
Ah, good afternoon, Heinrich. Things are bustling, I see.
He turns and looks at you, and he smiles, but it's kind of it doesn't really reach his eyes the way it has in previous days you've talked to him. But oh, okay. He He nods and says, "Oh yes, Master Halfling. Good. I'm glad you're back safe."
Oh yes, it was very dangerous, I understand.
He nods and says, "That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. Anything for you, lads?"
Well, Verve wants a bed, don't you, Verve?
Yes.
He
The
nods.
same one. The same one, preferably.
He nods and says, "I've already been up there and cleaned it after y'all left this morning, so it should be right and ready for you. You can pay me after you rest. I'm a little swamped at the moment, if you don't mind."
I will go straight up.